Can you see me?
Yes. Hi.
I was like, what? Do I got a request? What do I do?
Yay. So you're here. You look so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I'm like away from the children. Okay. All right.
Okay, so I will start the intro. What's up, guys? Welcome to Let Me Talk My Shh podcast. You are now tuning in with the host, Manor Kid, and we have special guest, Kaie, Manor. Yay! Okay, so this episode is so exciting for me because the topic is being a lifesaver. Because for those who don't know, Kaie is a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
Just tell the viewers what kind of nurse you are and what is a day in a life like for you.
So I'm a trauma nurse. Can you hold this in? So yes, I'm a trauma nurse. I am in the trauma ICU, and I also I do emergency medicine, the ER. I pretty much did the ER for years. I kind of transitioned and sectored into the trauma ICU, but yeah. And so a day in the life of a nurse is crazy. It sums it up. It's crazy.
What would you say is
trauma.
crazy about it?
So, being in trauma, you have people, you have patients. Your patients are normally they could be healthy people and they were going on about their business and something happened. Whether it was an car accident, a gunshot wound, a stabbing, domestic, whatever, it was a trauma. And so usually you're dealing not only with the actual injury, but you're dealing with the situation. You may be dealing with police officers. You may be dealing with just the whole psychosocial in general. So you're dealing with a lot of aspects, families, children. So definitely, so that's what I mean when I say it's crazy.
Right. Yeah. I understand. So I feel like for a person like you must need like certain qualities or a certain mindset to be able to deal with all of this. What kind of mindset would you say an individual would need in order to be a trauma nurse?
So to be a trauma nurse, you really have to have like thick skin. You have to take the emotion out of it. It is hard because there are times where, I worked in a inner city hospital, and you have kids, like teenagers getting shot or stabbed, and you have to deal with them. You have to deal with the family, and it's really difficult. And sometimes you still have. I mean, I've cried, as I'm sure every ER nurse or any nurse in general, or ICU nurse has gone in the bathroom, cried it out. But you got to keep going because you got like 11 more hours in your shift. You only been there an hour, So you pretty much have to have thick skin. Sometimes you have to be in tune with yourself and know when you're becoming jaded, because when you become jaded, then nothing really matters. Everyone is the same. You don't care. Okay, you have chest pain, So that's when you have to realize like it's time for me to get out of that part of nursing, because now I don't care about, what's going on. So you really have to, not everyone can be a nurse. People think, oh, I want to go to nursing school. I want to be a nurse. Not everyone, it is not, look, it's not for the weak. So there is a lot. And then on top of it, we have to deal with the doctors. We have our own nursing view. The doctors have their view. And so it can be some conflict because based on my nursing judgment, I think this is how it should go, and based on their judgment, they think this is how it should go. So
what is that like for you? Because I know some like nurses, of course you have to work with doctors and you work with everyone else. What is that like for you? Is it like a lot of pressure, and if so, how do you deal with that?
Working with the doctors?
Yes
Because like I said, we each come from our own, we're all licensed, we're all professionals, right? And so the way we're taught as nurses, this is how we're going to handle it. And the way they're taught in medical school, this is how they're going to handle it. And for the most part, we have to respectfully, professionally, and be respectful of one another. But I don't know if you heard of residents, right? Yes. Everybody knows about residents. So the residents come, and if you've been a nurse for years, I've been in healthcare I don't, it's not going to give away my age, but I've been in healthcare for 17 years, right?
Oh, that's, yeah, you're
um,
well experienced.
and so, you know, I've been in the ER for 10 years and I've been nursing for almost 10, you know, so it's like you have the residents who just finished medical school and they're young and you have to also be patient. So this may be their first job ever. And medical school doesn't, you know, I feel like they don't really prepare them the way they prepare us in terms of like getting out there and like you're putting in orders as residents doctors and you're a resident doctor and it's very frustrating because if you've been a seasoned nurse, you know, like, oh no, that's not going to be
Like, this
enough.
is not what you do.
It's not going to be enough for that patient.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This patient is combative. They're flipping over stretchers, and what are you trying to give me for an order? So,
right.
you know, so, and then you have, of course, the attendings and things like that, and you just have to have a professional relationship. The ER is a little different from the ICU. I'm in the ICU, and I also do ER. I do both because I love ER. I've been at ER forever, but you know, at some point it was time for me to cut the umbilical cord, and I had to, you know, I love trauma, so I stayed within trauma. I'm in the trauma ICU, but you know, in the ER, the doctors are right there, and so you have that level where you can go to them and say, hey, why are we doing this? Why?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
they don't always have that in the ICU. You know,
Right,
you
right.
do, but you don't.
So, Kaie, what inspired you to become a nurse? Out of all of these careers, what inspired you to be like, you know what, I want to be a nurse?
Okay, so we all know I like, you know, we want to help people out, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, for me, I needed a career that was going to be able to allow me to do what I want to do at every stage in my life.
Right.
So as a nurse, as a physician, you are a cardiologist. You are always a cardiologist. You will always, always have to do cardiology. If you get tired of being a cardiologist, I'm so sorry for you, but you can't go back to medical school and redo it all over again. As a nurse, you can work in any discipline that you want. When I'm tired of doing emergency medicine, I switched over to the ICU. If I'm tired of the bedside, I can go to case management. If I'm tired of case management, I just want to dip and dabble. So for me, and then being a mom, you know, every stage of my life, I needed a career that I was going to be able to move back and forth. Mm-hmm. So being a mom, okay, now I'm working I can work part-time, or I can be PRN and I can do this, or I can travel. You know, kudos to the travel nurses.
Right.
They're over there killing it, making a whole bunch of money. But so I needed a career where I was going to be able to basically do what I want, because I will get tired of something and I'm tired. I'm not doing this anymore. And that's just my attitude. And I don't want to be forced to do something I don't want to do.
Right.
So I needed that career that was going to allow me to be able to do whatever I want in whatever stage in life that I was in.
Right.
Aside from helping people. I always knew I wanted to help people. I've always been in healthcare.
But you're like, what is it? Yeah.
I love how you can do whatever you want as a nurse. Seriously.
Right.
Whatever
That's good to know, because for someone like me who's not a nurse, I always thought like, okay, like once you're a nurse, that's it. Not saying that once you're a nurse, you can't, but now that I know, you can just hop around and be like, you know,
you can do whatever you want. You know? I've probably been in every body system field specialty that you can think of.
Wow.
Neurology, cardiology, pediatrics, ER, ICU, ortho, like seriously.
Wow, so that's cool.
Yeah.
So what would you say out of all those, which one's your favorite?
Trauma.
Trauma.
Like emergency, the ER and the trauma ICU. I'm not big on like chronic illness. Like I get it. We still, I feel like it's more rewarding when you have someone that they come to you because of an issue that they're having, like right then and there. I mean, cool. I mean, I understand, you know, you have people that have the chronic illness and are non-compliant, the diabetics that are non-compliant, and now you have an amputee, you have a foot, and that's fine. There are some people that have that level of like, that's what they like to do, but I'm not big. We still have to manage chronic illness, you know, as an ER nurse and an ICU nurse. But I definitely like the specialty of trauma. And so when I get tired of the ER, then I'm like, oh, trauma ICU, here I am.
Yeah.
Tired of the ICU, it's like, ER. So it's like back and forth. But yeah, that's always going to be my passion, which is trauma.
That's so cool. You are a lifesaver. Like, just think about that. So like when outside of work, you're out about your daily routine. Have you ever came across a situation where like something crazy happened and someone's like, "Is there a nurse around?" Like, and you
Yes.
have to help them?
On
Really?
the plane. On the plane. I was
What?
on the plane, minding my business, having a drink. I think I was like 3 in. I don't know. But I was like, they were like, someone had like a syncopal episode where you like pass out, right? I don't know what it. So they're like, "Is there a nurse or a doctor on?" And I'm like, "Oh, I cannot say I'm not one." And I'm looking around. So I go up there. There was a young guy. It was like, I don't know, maybe like 19. And he kind of passed out, looked really pale, diaphoretic, things like that. So it was actually me and a doctor that was on board. And I ended up getting $300 like credited to my Delta account. So I had like a free ticket.
Wow.
So like, yeah, I was like, okay, you guys can have syncopal episodes all you want.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, okay, so what about like at home? Like your husband, your kids, when they're not feeling well, they like, you're the first person they go to, like mom or like your husband, like, "What's wrong with me?"
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's
Oh,
cool.
yeah, all the time. But as a
You're
nurse,
like,
it's
yeah.
hard. So when it's your kids, all of nursing goes out of the door. You're like, "Oh, yeah,
Exactly.
you know, it's
That's
like
true. Natural instincts. Yeah.
it goes out the door. Like you want your kid, you're rushing your kid to the hospital. You want your
Yeah,
kid
yeah,
to be
yeah. I
seen now
get
because you know what can
it.
happen. I'm like, I had a patient who was just drinking and he was having a good time and he was walking and fell and hit his head on the curb and he died and he was only 23. And it's things like that where I'm like, so if my kid falls and hits their head, if it was someone else, I'd be like, "Oh, they're gonna be fine." But when it's your kid,
You're like,
all
no.
nursing goes out of the door.
Right.
No, goes out the door.
No, we're not gonna do this. Yup. So, what steps should one take to become a nurse? Obviously, you go to nursing school, but more like general steps, like your mindset, like, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, first you have to figure out, it is very, and I will say, and all the nurses can attest to this, it is not easy. It's very hard to graduate from nursing school. Okay. They make it hard to get into nursing school because it is a shortage and there's not a lot of professors and the clinical hours, you can only have a certain amount. So there are wait lists. Okay. So you may have to, a lot of people go in, they're spending a lot of money for the private schools and things like that. But once you're into nursing school, you have to understand that it is one of the stressful programs you'll ever be in. And it's more stressful than medical school. And I say this because when you're in college and you're in and you have a major and you're in a class, I think you have to get you just can't get a D, right? You have to if you get a D, you can still get a D, I think, and graduate college. You just can't get an F, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have to retake the class. Well, in nursing school, an F is anything less than an 80%. So each class that you take, you have to get an 80% or better in each class. If you get a 79.9, you fail the class, okay? You fail.
Wow.
And then when you fail the class, you can only take that class one more time. If you fail that class again, guess what? You're out of the nursing program. And the reason behind that is I had one of the professors say, if you get a C or D and you're a designer, you're just going to be a bad designer, right? Mm-hmm. And you think about it. But if you don't know what you're doing, you can kill someone. So
it's true, yeah.
So nursing is and as a nurse, you're the ones that are with the patients. The doctors are not there all the time. So you're the one, your critical thinking has to be like this. You got to know, this is what this lab value means. No, how about this? How about you anticipate what you think is going to happen? Mm-hmm. So, hey, I think this is going to happen. We need to order these labs. Sometimes as nurses in the ICU, we can put our own orders in and we just, call the doc. But we are looking at the patient with our eyes and we know what's going on. You have to
Mm-hmm.
know what's going on. So
Mm-hmm.
what I say to you is, for people going into nursing, know that when you're in the program, it's hard to stay in that program. So try to do whatever you can in your life to cater around the program, because it is a very difficult program. It's not like you can get a C and continue to
Right.
get C's. They will kick you out the program. So I would say get all your affairs in order. Work, family, and try. It's gonna. I don't think not one nurse has ever graduated nursing school and said, "Oh my goodness, I love my program. It was amazing."
Yeah. Because I have a friend who's in nursing school, and every day online she's complaining on her story. She's like, "I hate this. Oh
It's
my gosh,
terrible.
I'm stressed." I'm like,
It's terrible. Oh my
yeah.
god, it's terrible.
But what you said made sense though. It's like you would want to get a higher grade than that percentage you just said, because it's like you're
Yeah,
dealing with lives here, you know?
actually, absolutely. I had a doctor. Doctors will tell you, let's reverse the roles. What will you do? What will you do in this situation? It's true. So it is one of the hardest. And then on top of it, when you graduate nursing school, you have to pass NCLEX, and
Mm-hmm.
every nurse knows NCLEX. Every answer is correct, but
Mm-hmm.
you need to know what to do first. And
Mm.
you're like, all these things are correct. All four answers are correct. What are you going to do first? And that's when,
Oh.
you have to have the critical thinking skills.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that what makes a great nurse is critical thinking. It's like you have to anticipate what's going to happen, so
Wow.
that you can do your intervention based off of your critical thinking.
Right. So in nursing school, how did you deal with the stress? How did you not go like crazy, like, oh my gosh, all this, all that? Like, how did you balance everything in your life?
I had my nursing school buddies. Like, we would
Okay.
like cry together. We would stress out together. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
drinking wine. All of
Yep.
this is in the book. Drinking wine really helped. Because you're in a cohort, and is what they call it, I guess. And you're all together, and no one understands this for however long you're in the program, but you guys, right? And other people going through it. And you really have to do a lot of sacrificing. I missed a lot of parties. I missed a lot of, like, a whole bunch of stuff, right? And so it's a level of sacrifice, but you get through it with the people that you're in your class, like your buddies, your nursing school buddies. And it is, I'm telling you, we would cry together. We would argue with the professors. What's your rationale for that answer?
Yeah.
It was like do or die. It's a very stressful program. We argued with the other people in the class. It was, but I look back, would I ever go through nursing school again? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If they said you had to go through nursing school again,
no.
I would say I'm not doing that. But I definitely glad I met the people that I met.
That's so cool.
And we're still friends, so.
Yeah. I'm sure you are a phenomenal nurse. You know your stuff,
Yeah.
Do you see yourself in this career for a long time?
Yes, I do. But I do not see myself at the bedside.
Okay.
The bedside will burn you out. And that's, again, the beauty of nursing. You can be wherever you want to be. But I do, I have I'm opening up like a mobile clinic, like for, it's more of a holistic approach. I definitely believe in Western medicine, but I believe in like preventative measures. And so like I said, that emergency medicine background comes in, where I have a lot of skills in terms of like putting in IVs and things like that. So
Right.
I'm in the process of getting it's a certification for holistic practitioner. So
cool.
yeah, so I see myself doing, of course, nursing. I don't think I will never stop being. I love nursing. I love being a nurse.
That's so nice.
I'll never stop being a nurse. But, you know, as you get older and you have kids, I have 2 kids now, and a family, a husband, and you know, you got to slow it down a little bit. But I'll leave it to the young generation. They can be at the bedside. They can be going crazy, running up and down like chicken with their head cut off. It's not my thing. But yes, I definitely will retire as a nurse. Definitely. But
I love
it just
it.
won't
I
be
love
that
to
kind
see
of
it,
nurse.
girl.
And that's the beauty of nursing. You can do whatever.
Yes.
You can even be a legal nurse. You know, and there's social media nurse. Look at it. It's got social media.
I know, right? That's so true. That is so true. So that's the beauty of nursing. What would you say is what's the cons?
Dealing with people. You know, dealing with the general public, I'm just gonna be honest,
I agree.
It ain't for the weak. You know, and it's a scary place. You realize how ridiculous people are. Like everybody now on social media, they're like, people are so crazy, they're so ridiculous. I'm like, really? I've been known people were ridiculous. Like, dealing with the general public is a very difficult thing to do. Because you realize how stupid people are. I'm
telling you.
You realize how people, and then you realize how evil people are.
That's true.
But then you do meet some amazing people, right? You meet amazing people, but the con is honestly dealing with the general public. Because dealing with your coworkers, your colleagues, like, you build a bond. Even with the doctors, you build a bond. Even the residents, you know, at some point you get together and you build a bond. But it's really hard. And so you have to learn how to deal with, you know, mental illness is very prevalent. You know, it's big. You have to learn, like, when to identify certain issues. And in nursing school, they teach you about psychosocial. You're like a social worker. You're everything as a nurse, seriously. And so you have to know the whys, and you're like, okay, this is why this is happening. But it's really difficult when you're dealing with the general public, because not everybody has the same morals as you, not everybody has the same views as you. And so you have to learn, and this is a part of nursing school. I think it's in mental health. It's like, you have to, the first process is you have to check yourself. Before you go into that room, if you have a patient that has, like, a certain diagnosis or a certain mental illness or a certain whatever, and it is something that triggers your past or your present, the initial step is first check your ethnical back, like, your beliefs, your cultural beliefs. Like, you have to check yourself first before you walk into that room. And that's hard to do, because what decision that they may make is something that you may not agree with, but it's not your decision. You know, the only thing you can do is you can try your best to explain to them what is going on so that they can make an informed consent. But overall, yes, you definitely have to deal with the general public, and you have to learn that everyone doesn't think like you. And that's hard.
Yeah.
Because you still got to take care of that man or that woman or whoever that just shot up a whole school. You know? You got to think about stuff like that. Like, this person just committed this serious crime, and they are in handcuffs, and they're with the police. But I have to still, like, be a nurse and take that element out, because I worry you don't get involved in that, and I still have to take care of you. You know, like, certain things that these people have done and why they're there, and you still have to check yourself and remember, like, what you're here to do. And that's very difficult.
That's crazy. My facial expression's like, that's crazy.
That is very hard.
Like, seriously. Now that I think about it, imagine how many people you came across, different situations.
Yeah. It's
not a joke. Definitely thick, extra thick skin for that.
Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, you have no idea.
That is crazy. So what about COVID? When that first hit, what was that like for you?
So COVID, I was pregnant. And I was on a trauma floor, actually, and you know, I don't know, it's this area in Virginia, it's like a level 1 trauma hospital. And I didn't take, they were very great. They were very nice to me. So every hospital has to have like a clean unit, right? And so the trauma unit was considered like a clean unit. So we would get COVID. However, all of our patients weren't COVID. So if we got COVID, it was due to like a patient coming in for trauma. If you're trauma, we can't like say, oh, we're not going to take care of you because you're on COVID. So that's how we had, right? COVID. So there was some COVID on our floor, but because I was pregnant, I didn't have COVID patients. Okay. You know, I didn't have direct COVID patients, but I'm still exposed because I am, you know, on a floor of my colleagues who just came out of like COVID, right? But I must say the hospital that I work for, I mean, they were amazing with like supplies. We never ran out of supplies. I mean, to this day in the hospital, we do not take our mask off. Like, I don't know what some people look like. I'm like, oh, I didn't know you look like that. Yeah. 12 hours, but it was very stressful because, as you know, the equipment that they give us, you know, it's like gowns, and you have like it looks like a gas mask, and you have either like a shield, and you're exhausted and you're hot, and I was going like that in that room, like that, like with everyone, because you don't know who has what, you know. Yeah. And so it got to a point where I was like, you know what? My immune system is very low because I'm pregnant and we're not doing this. So I actually took about 6 to 7 months off. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I went on maternity leave for like 6 months. I was like,
I'm not taking this chance.
Yet. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. We're not doing this.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, it was too much for me. I was like waddling big, putting all this equipment on. No. It wasn't happening.
So overall, being a nurse, I'm sure, well, outside of work, you have a family. I'm sure you have other hobbies. How do you manage your time to fit all this into one schedule?
So again, nursing, you can do whatever you want. So I'm like, you know what? I just want to go in the hospital 2 days a week, and I can do case management on the side, working from home. You know, and that's, you know, so you can figure it out as a nurse. That's what I said. When you're a nurse, it's a profession that will adapt to your life. So if I feel like, I want to just go cut down to 2 days a week because my kid, one of my kids is homeschooled, you know. Me and my husband, we don't have family here, so we work together, like our schedules. And I have a little baby, you know, she's like, she'll be 10 months. So it's like, as a nurse, I'm like, well, I can't really work too much during the week, you know? And so I can go into hospitals and I can work, you know, 2 nights. And nurses also get paid really well. You know, they get paid. I can honestly say they are getting paid better. Not really well. Let me tell you, we can get paid much more. They're getting paid better because what travel nurses are doing right now, and they're getting like, their travel nurses getting like $10,000 a week, 12. I had someone send me something like, oh, do you want to make $12,000 a week, like after taxes? And it's like, oh, a week, you know, you're getting like 15,000 every 2 weeks as a travel nurse, right? That's what they should be paying nurses in general. You know, like they're finally paying nurses, like the travel nurses. You don't get that look. You don't get that as a staff nurse. I'm not a travel nurse, but you always know that option is there. So if you're at a point where you're like, you know what, I'm tired of working so hard, I want to be a travel nurse and I just want to do my 3 days, you know. And so they're finally paying nurses what they're actually worth. And that's how I feel. I'm like, the way they're paying the travel nurses, like that is what nurses are worth, you know. So with me and balancing family, my family comes first no matter what. And so I had to like do a lot of like changing even me and my husband's schedule. But with nursing, you can do that. So I balance it where my family all week, it's with the kids. My daughter is homeschooled. We're doing everything with the kids. And, you know, I just go in the 2 nights. So it works, you know.
That's so perfect. Like,
it is.
That's
I'm
just,
telling you, you got to get a career
that's the
that
life.
is going to
Yes.
cater to your every life move.
Yes,
You
yes,
know,
yes.
that it's like, oh, if I'm tired of doing this kind of nursing and I want to go and tap
Let
into
me,
plastic surgery and do Botox and, you know, lipo and walk around and like red bottoms and you know how those
yeah, 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 I know.
plastic surgery and look like
Yeah.
I can do that if I
Yeah.
want to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
be
That's
on
cool.
social. I don't want to I like dealing with sick patients.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I don't do like maternity. I like sick patients. I
Mm-hmm.
do. I don't do plastic. I mean, that's my preference. I like sick patients. So,
Well, I can tell you love what you do. Do you ever though feel like you want to give up?
um, with nursing.
Yeah.
So yeah. So me and my nurse friends talk about this all the time. Absolutely. You come out of a working shift, and I'm like, you know what? Even on shift, I'm like, I say to my colleagues, I'm like, there's got to be a better way to make money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like
Mm-hmm.
this ain't it today.
Mm-hmm.
But that is just because nursing is very stressful.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
many times I'm like, oh no, I'm not doing this. And that's when you have to take a step back and you have to realize, like, okay, I may not want to do this type of nursing. Like the bedside can really burn you out. It will burn you out. Okay. People will drain you. Where you're like, you know what?
Yes.
I want to be an informatics nurse. I want to be behind a computer and never have to like deal with a soul again. And you can do that. So yes, I have a lot of periods where I've gone through different disciplinary parts of nursing where I'm like, I'm burnt out. That's why I left the ER. That's why I'm here. That's why I came back to the ER. That's why I'm, doing different things. So yes, I got to a point where I'm like, no, I don't want to do this part of nursing anymore. But nursing as a career, no, because I can always do something else. Even if I'm not even dealing with patients or the general public. I could be a nurse, like just working remotely, or I can be a nurse just doing like IT stuff, helping like build like software.
Yeah, yeah.
So yes, I say all the time. I have a friend, like my buddy Z, like me and her, we went to nursing school together, and we talk all the time about like, oh, this ain't it, girl, this is not it. I am not doing this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But we still go to work because we love like nursing, but there are different parts of it where you will get burnt out. And you just gotta go to a whole another sector of it. That's what you can do. You just be like, all right.
I think that's the cool part, and that's how you can stay motivated. You like, I have other options,
I have other options.
And
a nurse will always have other options. Like I want my daughters to be nurses because I wouldn't have to deal with like worrying about like them. Like
you said you would like for them to be?
I would.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
It would. We'll see.
So what were the first couple of days of you being a nurse like? Like when you first
It was
started?
long ago. Just like the unknown, chaotic, like so it's been I was a tech before I was a nurse. I was like an EMT before I was a nurse. So I was never like the hospital setting. I was never intimidated about the hospital setting because I've done, CNA tech work, I've been an LPN and EMT. So I can say like, the first day of one of my nursing jobs, I was probably like, oh, here we go again. I don't know because I've always been in the hospital setting since I was young, working. So I can say like, nothing really like changed. It was just a different title.
Yeah.
So for me, it's different because I've been in the hospital healthcare setting forever. But yeah, it was just kind of like, oh, all right, here we go. You know, it's the ER at the time, so you just kind of didn't know like what was gonna happen.
Cool. I like that. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, I have a great, well, I know you are a phenomenal nurse.
Oh, thank you.
I'm telling you, this is so cool. You got me thinking like, Manaya
Go to
nurse.
nursing school.
You
Go
got
to
me here
nursing
thinking like
school.
Manaya's a nurse.
I'm telling you, you should go.
Yes,
I'm telling you.
yes. What would you say to those who want to become a nurse but fear the idea of disliking the career once they start their journey?
Who want to become a nurse?
Yes.
And then say that, what was the last part?
So like they went to nursing school, they've been
Mm-hmm.
doing nursing for like, I don't know, a couple months, and they're like, okay, this is not it. Like, why did I waste my time in nursing school? Why am I even here? What advice would you give to those that fear the idea of being that way?
Okay. It is okay. It's totally normal. You will get that way. That's one thing I can say. You will actually get to a point where you'll say, this is not it. But just know, like, that job may not be it. You know what I'm saying? That's special. If you are a med surg nurse and you're sick of having 6, 7 patients and everything is just everybody's total care and you're just burnt out, no breaks, whatever, that job on the med surg floor may not be it. You know, or if you're an ER nurse and you're just sick of $1 million workups and just people coming in, it's just balls to the wall all the time. Like, that ER job may not be it, but always know that you're in a profession, because it could be worse. You could not be able to find a job. You know what I mean? And that's what I tell myself. That's what motivates me, is like, I need to stop being selfish and realize there are people out there that have been unemployed and looking for jobs and can't find jobs because there aren't any jobs. There will always be a nursing job. So if you get to that point, we need to just, because you start to forget like how hard it is to find a job when you're a nurse sometimes, because you can always find one. So just when you get to that point, ask yourself, so what else am I going to do?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
am I going to do?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what else am I going to do? So
Mm-hmm.
you have a nursing, you are licensed to be a nurse. There's so many people that are like trying to get into nursing school, failed nursing school several times, had to reapply. So this is what I tell myself. I'm like, girl, this may not just be the department for you, the hospital for you, but if you're at that point, then figure out like, okay, what's making me stressed out? Is it the load of patients, the heavy load? Okay, you have 6 patients and you're tired of having 6 patients, go to the ICU. Apply for the ICU. You'll have 2 patients. They still will be heavy because those are really sick patients and they're going to be vented. They're going to, those are sick. There's no other, the acuity of that patient is high. Like, there's no other, what's higher than the ICU, like for critical. So they're very critical care, like, patients. And that I work in the trauma ICU. And so it's like, so even though I may have 2 patients, they could be very high acuity patients, right? So you just got to take your time and think about, don't give up on nursing. Just leave that discipline, that part.
And find what works for you.
Yeah, find what works for you. It's like, are you the type now that's at the point where you're like, I don't want to like talk. I don't want to deal with the general public. Okay, well, you can do legal nursing. You can do case management remotely. You can do informatics. You can work as a like building software for the hospital, So it's different type of things that like you can do. You can do plastic surgery. And
that's interesting. That's an interesting.
You want to do that? I mean, you can do that. You can do babies in the NICU. You could do mother baby labor and delivery. I mean, they always have a beautiful department.
So, what departments have you worked in out of your nursing career?
Okay, I've worked in trauma, of course, trauma ICU. I worked in the ER. I've worked in hospice. I've worked in oncology. I've worked in ortho. I've worked mainly the ER, but I've also done case management.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of oncology was probably the hardest, but yeah.
Wow, you are well
And I
experienced.
done
I'm telling you.
pediatrics.
Wow.
I don't
How's
like doing
that?
kids.
I know. You said you don't like?
No, I mean kids.
Really?
You would have to send me home. Like I see every kid that ever since I had kids, every kid that comes in there, I'm like,
Yeah.
my kid, I
Yes.
can't. Kids, my
Yes.
heart can't do it.
Yeah.
I'm
know.
fine. No, I would that I can't do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like seeing kids like
hurt, ill.
no.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't take it.
Mm-hmm.
So I won't do kids. That's one thing I won't do. Kids is very sad. So. Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I feel like you deserve like a trophy, like world's best nurse to you, like a big award, you know?
Oh, that's so nice of you. Oh my
I'm
goodness.
telling you. So we are about to wrap this show up, but I always ask my guests a special fun question.
Mm-hmm.
And for you, it is, what is a secret that nurses have but never tell anyone?
Well, I will say this. If you're a night nurse, we drink in the mornings.
Mm-hmm.
So if we do a night shift, our happy hour is like 8:00 in the morning.
Wow.
So we will have shots. We will have drinks. We will go out and like
8 in the morning.
8 in the morning. 8 in the morning. Okay.
Wow.
We will that is our happy hour because it's after work.
Mm-hmm.
It's 8 in the morning. I mean, I haven't done it in a while. I used to do that all the time. But like when I worked in like the inner city hospital, and I had no kids, and I was just we would get off and we would go to like a breakfast spot and
just have a drink.
All of us, we would. I mean, would probably be wasted by 10. You know, it's like.
I mean, you need something to distress, balance it.
Yep. Yes. So night nurses definitely leave and get off and have happy hour. So at 10, 8:00 in the morning.
Yes, yes. I don't blame you, girl.
You need to,
Yes.
Now I'm so exhausted. I'm like, I need a Red Bull just so I can get home.
Are you a coffee person? Are you a coffee person?
So I'm a fake coffee person. So like I'll make coffee and get all excited about it, and I never finish it. Like I can never really finish the coffee.
I thought I was the only one.
And I'm like, the coffee's cold. I have to heat it up 50,000 times, and then it's like, I'm like, I don't want this anymore. So I'm a fake like coffee person, but like the anticipation of like drinking it, and it doesn't do anything for me.
It doesn't.
So I don't even know why.
Really doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know why I drink it. So, but yeah.
Wow. Girl, I thought I was the same way with coffee.
Yeah. Crazy.
Okay, guys, that wraps up this episode of Let Me Talk My Shh with special guest Kaie Manor. It's been a pleasure. And before we go, just tell the viewers your Instagram so they can follow you.
I didn't even know my Instagram.
Wait, I think I have it. Wait. Guys, you can follow her at KGOLSON01. Okay, guys?
I am dying.
It's okay, girl. I got you.
Look, yes, that is exactly it.
You're like, I don't even know it. Like, what?
No, I do know it. It is Kaie. Because the thing is, like, my name says Kaie Manor on it. Because I changed it because it was Kaie Golson. But then I didn't change the actual, like, app. So it does still say Kaie Golson, like, 01. And that's when I first, like, opened it. And I had no idea what I was doing. For, like, 3 years it was up. And I had no idea. But, so I'm like, is it Kaie Manor? I was like, no, I didn't even change it. So, yes, it is Kaie. It's Kaie Golson 01. And I just think that's it. Isn't that all it is? But you can type in my name, Kaie Manor, and I think it pops up.
Yes, and she will pop up, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to follow her and tune in for the next episode. Kaie, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for going live with me.
No problem.
Bye.
Bye.